Hello, it's that time again. Get up, get off the couch, and tackle your to-do list. Stay tuned. On today's episode, we're tackling a concrete driveway. Load the truck, ladders, tools, all materials. And don't forget the coffee maker. Let's go. Love home reno? I know you do. Don't change the channel. I am your host, Bob Assadourian. This program has two goals in mind always. Number one, to motivate you, to get you up and off the couch and tackle that never-ending to-do list around your own home. Number two, if for whatever reason you cannot or will not tackle that list, through advocacy, through the information we give you, I will help you to find the right contractor for you and your home. That's always important. The program's interactive again. Visit our site, justaskbob.com, fill in our submit form, explain what the problem is, what the renovation entails, and we may answer your question on this very program. Now, unlike reality television, today's contractor is actually licensed. Not one, but two. The contractor portion and the master building repair. So every program is precipitated, as we said, with a question. Here we kick it off with a viewer's email. Bob, can you do a show on exposed concrete aggregate, a walkway or a driveway border? Problem is, we likely cannot afford to do the entire driveway in aggregate. Seeing as my wife and I always park in the driveway, we're thinking that if we did a nice, really wide aggregate border around the perimeter, we could leave the asphalt driveway in the middle or just do new asphalt because it really does not show with both our cars in the driveway. What do you think? Andy, thank you so much for the question. As far as the design options, like they say in construction, I think you literally hit the nail on the head. You are trying to design or come up with a concept for a project that will match your budget. Nothing wrong with that at all. And actually, it's getting popular. I've seen it done before. Now, it's not going to typically be a skinny 1-foot border. It's about 3 feet or so. You're going to go around all 4 sides, and then what's left in the middle, which doesn't show much, can be done in new asphalt, or you can leave the existing asphalt. Now, with that being said, though, if you can afford it, if your budget allows, a top pick for Bob would always be aggregate. Always. It's my favorite. I would strongly suggest you do the entire driveway in that. Now, another option designers love is if you do that same border in aggregate, but you do the center stamped. Stamped concrete, aggregate concrete, or any concrete will stand the test of time much, much better than asphalt. Asphalt's going to dip. Asphalt's going to have issues pretty soon after it's installed in some cases. So again, it just depends. Depends what your budget allows and what you can do. Andy, after break, we are going to visit you, and we're going to have a good look at your driveway and see what we can help implement. Stay tuned. We're on location with my good friend Joe Bartolotta from SCP Stamped Concrete Pros. Going excellent, Joe. I'm happy to be here. This job site, what's the right word? Variety. We have almost every type of concrete here.
Pretty much. We have stamped wood, we have a York stone, we have a rough stone, we have in the front exposed aggregate.
Let's talk about what we're standing on now, because I wish I had this in my own yard. This is amazing. This looks like wood.
It's beautiful. This is a wood stamp that we had. It's actually a Gilpin Falls stamp that they copied the boards that were in the bridge.
Wow. Tell everyone about yourself. How long have you been in this business?
I've been doing the concrete for almost 30 years and
Wow.
owned my own business for 15 years with my brother. And it's been going pretty good so far.
You've stood the test of time.
Yeah.
How many businesses? I've been in business 21 years. I can't tell you, I may have told you already, how many businesses I see for whatever reason, they come and they go, they come and they go. That old saying of standing the test of time, we know it matters.
Oh, it's true.
And ultimately, to you, the homeowner, it translates to experience, it translates to quality, it translates to somebody knowing what day of the week it is when they show up.
Exactly. And passion. You have to have passion when you're doing decorative concrete.
We know a lot about passion here at the Just Ask Bob show. Passion matters. Now, for the viewers at home, how far will you drive?
We could probably go as far as Mississauga, we go to St. Catharines, Milton, but mostly we stick around Hamilton, Burlington, Dundas.
Different varieties. You know, we've talked about design. We've talked a lot of times about design. You're one of the few contractors that I know, like myself, that'll spend the time, educate the homeowner, educate the consumer, you know, a level playing field. Let them understand what's going on. So you'll sit down with people, design driveways, design patios.
Yeah, it usually starts with the homeowner wanting something.
Okay.
They're not completely sure, but they have an idea, and then we'll just walk through it. We'll go with colors, we'll go with stamps, we'll go with thicknesses, depending on what they're going to use it for.
So you'll take their idea as a starting point.
Yeah,
And then
we'll
work on it from
we'll
there.
customize it to make it fit better.
Excellent, excellent. Let's take a look at this place because there's so much eye candy here.
Let's go.
Let's take a look. Swimming pool. Wish I had one of those.
Yeah, don't we all?
So you want the pool to pop out, so to speak. I noticed the color differences. This
Yeah.
is all stamped.
This
So
is
you went with a different border.
Yeah, the border is a classic gray. This is called light gray with a charcoal hardener and
Gorgeous.
a rust stone stamp.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Now, depth and perception is important. So I understand you've made a built-up area with a fire pit.
We've made a raised area just so you can have a little more ambiance.
Wow, that is absolutely stunning. Thanks, Joe, for showing us this beautiful job site. We're going to head over to one of your other job sites, which I believe you're doing aggregate borders around a driveway.
Yeah, and a side walkway.
And a sidewalk, yes. We're working on a driveway. The plan here is to create a 3-foot wide aggregate border around the 3 sides of the driveway to match the one on the right. Joe, let's go through the process.
Well, first we laid out the chalk lines and we've cut a foot away to make room for our forms because the concrete's not flat. We've got some dips and divots and
That's
stuff
true.
like that. So with our forms, we'll be able to make the driveway straight and flat.
You think outside the box. That's
Yes.
what I love.
Yeah.
This man knows how to plan. This man knows how to think. So people wouldn't understand then at the end, when there's the beautiful concrete border, you now have a 1-foot space full of gravel.
Yeah.
Sort of an expansion joint. But that's to protect things for the next stage in the future.
For the potential, when you rip out the old asphalt, you're not damaging the concrete.
You're not
getting
damaging
close
the
to
new
it.
stuff that's
Yeah,
there.
You're gonna
So
preserve
obviously
that.
to start off, you worked with the chalk lines.
Yep.
You
Laid
did
out
the
chalk
saw
lines,
cuts.
saw cuts, and then we pulled it out, and now we're starting the excavation, getting rid of extra mud and water and stuff that's in the base.
That's the problem too on the
Yeah.
one side because of the way the people have the downspout set up.
Yeah.
That lets the water go underneath.
and cause issues.
Let's tell the viewers because I respect your position on that. A lot of concrete people have other views on it, and especially homeowners.
Yeah.
Homeowners that want to bury the pipe.
Yeah, we
Do
don't.
not bury your
Yeah,
pipes.
we don't recommend you burying the pipes because the frost and everything won't thaw in the winter. The pipe above gets wet and it soaks up.
So it's potential to get cracks.
It potentially lift it and then potentially could crack.
Not worth it. Put it on
Yeah.
top, it's accessible.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
only short periods of time and you're not walking in the rain anyway.
Exactly, exactly. I want people to think ahead.
Yeah.
On this job, we also have, besides the driveway, we're doing work in the tunnel.
Yeah, we're
at
doing
the side of the home.
side walkway.
The clearance has been difficult, very difficult. Let's go over there and let's talk about some of the machinery and tools that we've used.
Yeah.
Your machinery is amazing. What's the tightest clearance?
We've got a mini excavator we can get in 42 inches. And
Okay.
that's our minimum that we need.
Because homeowners are always asking me, or always complaining, I don't know if you could make it in our property.
Yeah.
So for those of you at home, get your tape measures out, check your gates, check your fences, check your clearance. You'll have a machine that'll get through somehow.
Yeah. Our smallest machine is 36 inches, and then we use power buggies that are 30 inches to get into
To be able to take it. Oh yeah, because the clearance was difficult
Yeah.
here.
It's
I want
always
to take a
an issue.
moment to talk about your mats. I'm very impressed with your cleanliness.
Yeah.
I'm very impressed with how you respect neighboring properties.
Yeah, thank you.
This work can be brutal.
Yeah.
This work can be messy. Always respect neighbors for simple courtesy.
Yeah.
They may also be the next clients.
Yeah.
You've got these heavy duty
Yeah.
mats. Tell me about them.
These are called ground protection mats, and they were supplied by a Hamilton Bobcat,
Nice.
and they're pretty good. They're expensive, but they do the job. They protect the asphalt, protect garden, grass, and stuff like that, and our machines will run on it, no issues.
No problems with spinning around, moving around.
Well, some, but we try to avoid it.
They're heavy. I've lifted
Yeah.
them. They're heavy.
Yes,
They're
they are.
heavy.
Yeah, they're
So this tunnel originally had river rocks, river stones.
river rocks and stepping stones, and then was pretty messy.
Tell me the process for the viewers. Let's go through each step, each stage here.
Okay, so we've excavated it. After we take out the stone, we've laid out our chalk lines for elevations, and we set our forms a ½ inch lower for fall. The base right now is set at 3 inches. We've tamped it, and then we're going to start adding up to our finished grade of 4½ inches.
Now, Joe, I noticed your men. It wasn't just boom, one shot and
No.
tamp.
No.
They did it in layers. They did it in stages.
Yeah, you want to stage your tamping because it compresses the ground perfectly fine, and you will have more stability.
That matters.
It's a huge difference.
Now, what happens if they don't follow procedure?
Concrete shifts, water gets underneath, it cracks, it shifts. does
So
all
that's
sorts
where
of things.
experience counts.
Yeah,
And you've been doing this for well over 30 years.
30 years.
You don't want your concrete people 5-6 years at it.
Yeah,
Experience matters.
Yeah, make sure you're licensed and insured and have WSIB coverage and everything.
Excellent. So we have the forms here, and I notice we have a gap. We have a space.
Yeah, the gap, we're going to put a weeping tile inside.
Okay.
It's going to be a solid pipe with holes in it, and then it's going to be covered with landscape fabric and then potato stones or gravel, anything that you choose. Yeah.
So you have designed this, and you worked with the homeowners, you worked with the clients for the design aspect. This is going to slope in 2 directions.
Yeah.
So the last 8 feet are going to slope towards the concrete in the yard.
Yeah, so we're going to match the patio height. So we've added a little bit of fall towards the patio, and it's a gradual fall where you're not going to feel it or see it, but it avoids a step that could potentially be a tripping hazard at the gate.
Or an excessive slope.
Excessive slope, it's very uncomfortable.
So this is the part that has to do with planning and design.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
work with your clients, with your homeowners to design.
You have to look at potential future problems and avoid them if you
Think
can.
ahead and think outside the
Yeah.
box.
Yeah.
Excellent. Next stages that are coming up now?
The next stage is we're going to do a final grade with the gravel.
Okay.
The form's already been braced up, and we're going to tamp it and get it ready with for wire mesh tomorrow before we pour.
Excellent.
Thanks, Bob.
We'll keep at it.
Thank you, Bob.
We're ready to pour. Joe, how important is preparation?
Prep work is 100% of the job. If you don't do it right, you're not going to have a proper job done. Right now we've got the forms set, we've got the wire mesh in place, we've got 6 inches of concrete because it's a driveway. On this side here, we've raised the edge up so we can do a French curb.
Nice.
And that's going to be ready to go in about 10 minutes.
Lots of mesh.
Lots
Tell
of
us
mesh.
about the importance, the key importance to mesh.
Mesh is probably better, just as good as rebar. It covers more square footage. You're a little more protected. We pull it up as we go, and it's going to be a lot more sturdy.
Homeowners have to ask for mesh. Make certain.
Yeah, make sure they see enough on site.
On site, yeah, that's
Yeah.
a key to it as well. Lots of stakes though, lots
Yeah.
of stake work.
Lots of support work to keep the form straight. We'll do a little bit of adjustment as we pour just to make
As you
sure it's
pour.
100% straight.
And then I understand that even when the concrete's poured, you have a little bit of a window there where you
Yeah.
recheck the
Yeah,
forms.
we've got usually about 4 hours to work with it.
Excellent. We've also taken care of the fire hydrant.
Yeah, we've left space around the fire hydrant, so if there's any issues with it, they can come replace it without touching the concrete.
Let's talk about fences here. I've been to so many homeowners' places of residence where they call me in to replace a fence, and I've seen concrete poured right up to the fence.
Yeah.
That is so stupid.
There is some codes where you have to stay at least a foot away from the fence so you can replace the post with no
Yeah,
issues.
to be able to replace them.
Worst case scenario, the concrete goes underneath and you can put brackets and stuff.
I've even heard of homeowners insisting, pushing their concrete contractor saying, pour right up to it, pour right up to it, for aesthetics.
Yeah, you can if you've put the post mounts on top of the concrete.
On top, but not
Yeah,
when they're buried
not
below.
inside. Yeah.
And I mean, that can be filled up with river rocks, that can be landscape, potato stones, different things.
Mulch.
Again, I want the viewers to understand the reasoning here, the space between the formwork, so they can see it clearer now. This is your thinking outside the box, which is why I like you.
Thanks.
So when this one day gets pulled out,
Yeah.
to save costs, they're obviously keeping the asphalt driveway, but I guess it's an expansion, a buffer zone, a neutral zone, so to speak.
It's first we're going to get a nice straight finish. We're going to get nice and flat across the whole thing. There's not going to be any divots, and we make sure that when we rip out the asphalt's going to be purely flat or concrete.
And the compacting here has been insane.
Yeah, that's
banging and tamping and banging and tamping.
The more you tamp, the better it goes, and the thicker the base, the better the base.
Because that's the foundation for the new poured pad.
Exactly.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah. It's going to be a lot of work. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's going to
Truck's
look good
on its way.
Yep, soon.
I want to thank Jason here.
Thank you very much.
The patience you have, waiting and standing while we pour and drag and wheel and pour. We couldn't do it without you.
Well, I've been doing this for 14 years, working for Duffer and Concrete. Lots of great customers we come to. I've been coming with SCP Stamped Concrete for 14 years. He has a 5-year Customer Choice Award. I would definitely have these guys pour concrete for me.
Joe would have never been on my job site if he wasn't the finest.
Yeah, well, he is a great guy, great crew. These guys work hard and they have a perfectionist job.
It's brutal work.
It's
hard work. It is definitely hard work. Sometimes you're fighting the heat. Sometimes you're rushing because of the rain. You're at the mercy of the weather in this business.
Every single day. You never know what job you're going to get into. And that's how it's done, folks. Take your time, do it right.
Thank you again, my friend.
Thank you very much.
We'll see you on the next one.
Hey Bob, we're at the stage where we've done all the finishing work and we've done the French curb.
Gorgeous curb, gorgeous finishing.
Thank you.
Finest I've seen.
So now we're at the stage where Luis is finishing the concrete and Javier is spraying right behind him, getting it ready for the wash for tomorrow.
Let's talk about the spray, the pink stuff.
The pink stuff is a surface retardant and you usually get about 24 hours to wash it off.
Interesting. So that helps with the exposed.
Exactly. Without that, you're just going to have white concrete.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's the release agent.
Yes, it is. Well, it's more of a surface retardant.
And then the spraying is what releases everything off.
It stops the surface from curing.
That's how you get the exposed look.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And the mix is a special aggregate mix that we use for exposed aggregate.
So it's not the same stone.
No.
This is much smaller.
Yeah, it's a small round pea gravel.
Weather permitting, what's the next step tomorrow?
The next step, we'll come and strip all the forms, take all the pins out, and if we can, we'll cut it and then wash it, or we have to wait, wash it, and then cut it.
So a lot of that depends on the temperature.
Temperature, for sure.
I don't envy you. Your working with temperatures, different times of the year, it can really be a pain.
It's challenging.
Hopefully tomorrow, if we do get the saw cuts in, whether we do or not, back next week, we get the cutting done. What's after that?
After we do the cutting, we'll let it sit for a week and we'll do a final seal on it.
Final seal.
Yeah.
Now, for those at home, after the final seal, how long till the families, the homeowners, can drive over the new concrete?
Usually about 2 weeks after we poured it.
Okay, so don't be in a rush, because concrete grains its full strength.
After 28 days. Drivable after 2 weeks.
Drivable after 2 weeks, full strength in a month. All right, Joe, final stage. Tell the viewers, what are we working on today?
Okay, Bob, so today we're going to do the final seal on it. It's going to be probably up to 3 to 4 coats. The last coat will be a shark grip added to it.
You're a true pro, Joe,
Thanks.
True pro. You've been concerned with the original pre-existing concrete. So this home had an overlay on the porch and steps and a small walkway leading to the road. And obviously your work here at this job site, you've done the gorgeous borders around the 4 sides of the driveway. Tell us what you've been working on the last hour and why.
Okay, so basically the homeowners oversealed the concrete, and instead of adding more sealer to get a good look, we've got a good look with just reopening and activating the chemical reaction in it. You don't want to put too much sealer on because it just ends up developing issues like whitening or spalling or stuff like that. So it's best to just try to open it up and revive it.
The product that you used is xylene?
Xylene.
So that's amazing, because I was watching you apply it. It looked to me like you were adding sealer.
Yeah, we're just
xylene simply reactivated the existing.
Yeah, we're just moving it around.
And there's no worries then with adding sealer on top.
No. Once it dries, it's going to be the same sealer that was there. It evaporates.
Your xylene also did a beautiful job of pulling the cloudiness out of not only the old aggregate overlay and walkway, you were applying it and rolling it onto the stamping on the side of the porch.
Yeah.
And also I seen you rolling it onto the face edge of every single step.
Yeah, we're doing that so we can take out any whiteness from over application.
You really care about making this harmonious.
100% passion.
Blending the old into the new.
Yeah, so we want to make sure that the whole job looks as consistent as we can do it. We know we've got age, we've got different sealers, we got lots of sealer, we got no sealer. So try to kind of blend it all together and get the same consistency.
Joe, you are truly Just Ask Bob's top pro.
Attaboy.
Top pro tip. Love it. So now you're going to go around with this. And again, you mentioned a couple of coats. Just so the viewers understand, how do you judge? How do you judge between the coats?
We put our first coat. We don't want 100% coverage on the first coat, but we want it kind of as consistent as we can get. We'll let that dry, and then we'll put a top coat on, and we'll go in a different direction just to cover everything that we might have missed or didn't accept the sealer as much. And then we'll go for a top coat, which is going to have an anti-slip additive to it, which is going to make it a little less slippery.
I'm very particular when it comes to cleanliness.
100% agree to that.
I seen you here walking around with the blower. Final thing so the homeowners can really appreciate the extent of your care to detail. What and why? What were you doing with the blower and why?
We try to get as much moisture off the concrete as possible so we don't have any delamination. There's going to be a little bit of moisture still in there, but hopefully it doesn't really affect it too much. But you definitely don't want standing water on it.
Then obviously you're blowing off any debris and any leaks.
Yeah, get rid of dust and stuff like that.
Excellent, excellent. An amazing shout out and thanks to Joe for having us on his job site. Stay tuned. Up next, we're back at the shop. For everything home rental, follow us on social media. Now we're on to a segment of the program called Bob's Top Picks and Bob's Bewares. This is for you, the viewer, you, the homeowner, to draw on my vast experience, over 35 years in home renovations. For this program, top pick, Bob's top pick, Joe Bartolotta, for all your concrete needs. Why? Because Joe has been tried, tested, and proven on the Just Ask Bob show. Opposite end of the extreme, let's talk about Bob's Bewares. Many here now. Cheap concrete installers. Untimely. They're not sending the quote when they promise they're going to send it. You ask them for references, they don't give you any. It always seems to be they come in the cheapest. That's it. That's all they're good for. Stay away. Stay clear of them. This program, once again, is interactive. We are very, very easy to reach. JustAskBob.com. Fill out our quick submit form. Our newsletter. Subscribe to our newsletter for everything home rental. And we're very proud to announce that this season, our newsletter has been picked up by the Bay Observer. So our ever-growing database just got a lot bigger. On our website, the largest database for home improvement, you can learn the way that you learn best by watching hundreds of these programs, by listening to the former Just Ask Bob show, radio edition, not only on one station but on two, and also reading a vast, vast amount of our Q&A home rental columns. A university of knowledge for the taking. Are you old school? Want to just pick up the phone and chat? Very simple. 289-649-0196. Again, that's 289-649-0196. Thank you.